I know I've been covering this, the gas and oil issue with you guys for quite a while in terms of Russia and the Ukraine war. And something very interesting here happened today. So you have a oil supply deal that's been finalized between the Russians and Pakistan, right? So let's go through this quickly, okay? So Russia said today that it reached conceptual agreements with Pakistan on the supply of crude oil and petroleum products. And here's the important part. The payments will be made in currencies of friendly countries, meaning not US dollars. So the Russian energy minister, he went to Islamabad, and here's a short video for you guys. What happened? December 5th, the EU banned Russian crude. And on February 5th, so, you know, in a matter of a few weeks, they're going to completely ban, you know, oil-related products. They were saying that, oh, well, the Russian war machine is going to be crushed because there's going to be no more money coming in from Russia's oil exports and oil-related exports. So that's not happened. I mean, right now, the price of Russian oil, the euro, right? So it's selling at $38 a barrel, I think, which obviously is much lower than how it was almost a year ago. This price cap that the G7 has tried to implement at $60 a barrel, I mean, it hasn't even happened. There's not one case of this price cap actually working because it's simply not trading at anything near 60. Now, you can, of course, look at that and say, well, that shows that the price cap is working. The Russians have been forced into selling their oil cheap, and so now they have less money, and now they can't fund the war. No, that's not true, because even when the volumes went down, right, because of the sanctions, the prices were so high that the Russians actually even made more money. And now you say, well, okay, but the Europeans are not buying Russian oil anymore, so the volume is going down and the price is going down. That's wrong, because now the majority of Russian oil is going to Asia. It's not going to Europe. So Pakistan is just one of those examples. You know, and it's interesting. I think the day the war started, you remember this whole like firestorm they were giving Imran Khan because he was in. There's a funny video of him speaking about this. He said he had no clue that there was, a war about to happen. I mean, and he just so happened to have a visit planned for Moscow that day on the 24th. And what did he do? He bought gas and wheat, right? I think it was 200,000 tons of each. So, and he got a lot of crap for it because people were saying, oh well, you're not pulling your weight. You're supposed to sanction the Russians, and now you're doing business dealings with Putin and shaking his hand. I think this government that basically they got rid of Khan because he's too popular, and Shehbaz Sharif, took over as prime minister. I don't think they particularly wanted this deal with Russia because they don't understand the concept of the global south. Imran Khan is someone who understands that, and he understands Pakistan's position as a very important country in the New Silk Road and in the global south. Imran Khan has no problem dealing with Russia and buying things from Russia, and Russia is not exactly a neighbor, but it's in their backyard. He understands, he gets it. And he criticizes war on terror. These guys, they're the complete opposite, right? I'm not saying this, but half of the goddamn government is like on bail. They're so corrupt, right? And they got rid of Khan because he's not corrupt and he's actually liked by people. But I think the situation in Pakistan is so bad. You have Saudi Arabia trying to inject money in Pakistan and Egypt. I think that they were just forced to go for this because when it comes to liquefied natural gas, LNG, it even says it here, actually. They say that Pakistan just couldn't afford it. So they're going to look at that for 2023, in late 2023. Here it says Pakistan has not traditionally been a major importer of Russian oil. Most of its oil supplies came from Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Pakistan's junior oil minister was quoted by Russian and local media saying that his country annually purchases about 70 million barrels of crude oil and would like to import 35% of it from Russia. Whether Pakistan is in a capacity to buy other oil or not, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, the Russian exports are being shifted towards Asia. And this is what we were talking about, since last year, that, okay, you can sanction the Russians, you can cut off their pipelines and blow them up. But Russia is the largest country on earth. It has 9 goddamn time zones. It's right next door to China. It's a BRICS country. There are all these neighbors right? And all these other countries across the world who are more than happy to buy Russian oil and at a discount, right? India and China started buying more oil from Russia than they ever had before. So it's extremely naive to think that, oh, well, it's a done deal. The price cap worked and, game over. And no, this is not true. It's not true. Again, when you have the February 5th sanctions that come into place, we'll see what happens. But I saw Amos Hochstein. So this guy is the U.S. presidential envoy to deal with the Lebanese and Israeli gas issue. And then now I think he's been given a promotion by Biden. And he was talking about, the price cap and on Russia, the G7 price cap. And he was all cocky and saying, well, look, it clearly works and all this stuff. No, you literally have not capped one goddamn barrel of Russian oil. You have yet to do that. The difference between Urals, so the predominantly Russian oil, and Brent, I think there's about a 20% difference in the price. But it's not because of the price cap and thinking that, okay, well, just because the EU and Australia and New Zealand and the US have sanctioned Europe, the rest of the world is going to follow suit. It's a bit arrogant. They're absolutely not, and they're going to do what's best for them and their economies. Even Saudi Arabia is considering changing how it does business. And I'll show you this video here. This is from the Saudi finance minister speaking in Davos. And I want you to listen to what he says about working with China. And it's very interesting.
Let's just pivot quickly back to China, because Xi visited Saudi Arabia. Red carpet was rolled out. Was there a discussion around paying for oil in yuan? Fill or kill on this rumor?
Okay. Two things. One is we enjoy a very strategic relationship with China, and we enjoy that same strategic relationship with other nations, including the US, and we wanted to develop that with Europe and other countries who are willing and able to work with us to advance the public good in the world.
Yes.
I think with regard to China, they are the largest trading partner with Saudi Arabia. I think there are no issues with discussing how we settle our trade arrangements, whether it is the US dollar, whether it is the euro, whether it is the Saudi Riyal or their currency.
There was no discussion on that at all?
I don't think we are waving away or ruling out any discussion that will help improve the trade around the world.
Let's close with this. Saudi first, it's made very clear by His Royal Highness Prince Abdulaziz bin Salman in his rhetoric. Saudi first, does that push you more towards China for your financial ties and relationships than it does to the US? Is a pivot in the making, and will it evolve more quickly than we think?
I don't think so at all, actually. We are working with both. We have a lot of interest in our relationship with the US. Our real is pegged to the US dollar. A lot of our economy is traded through US dollars with international partners. But we also look for China and advancing the relationship with China. We trade with them significantly. They are the largest trade partner with us. So we wanted to make sure that we bridge this global divide and provide ways to ensure that this fragmentation is contained and cooperation and collaboration is improved.
He's basically saying, well, yes, we work with the US and our currency is pegged to the US dollar, but, he's being very diplomatic about it, but he's basically saying that China's open to doing business with China and, selling oil to them in other currencies. And I think it's very important because, they were having this discussion roughly around a year ago. And, of course, he's not going to completely say, well, fuck the US, we want to join BRICS. But he said it in so many words, right? He said it in so many words. And Bloomberg understood that too. So BRICS is the future. And I'm interested to see what happens now with Brazil because of, they have Lula now, and he's a huge believer in BRICS. None of those countries are ready to shun Russia. As a matter of fact, South Africa, which is a BRICS country, is holding military drills right now with Russia and China, right? And they're doing this off the coast of South Africa. So again, you got to pay attention to what's happening because you're not going to hear these stories on mainstream media because they don't want to attribute any significance to them because it undermines their model. They don't want you to think there's a world outside of what they report and what they say and what they glamorize, meaning the West.